In thinking about the 21st century learner, what skills are needed in this changing world? What does today's learner look like? What unique challenges do today's students face in educational systems that remain static? These are just some of the questions raised on page 1. Signs of Change, Art Education in the Age of the iKID by Kathleen A. Onrath and Melissa A. Mudd. So the article starts to talk about how the idea of change began around the 2008 presidential campaign. It was a transformational time. It is now 10 years later, it's 2018. This article was written a few years after the presidential campaign of 2008 since then, and I feel like we are still asking ourselves these questions. Changes are probably not happening as fast as we would have thought that they should have happened in education reform or education or new forms of education, as the authors point out at the end. The article also discusses the importance of the changes that will facilitate and promote the types of thinking needed to produce productive and successful 21st century citizens. The article discusses the importance of imagery and how our young learners have grown up with images and a flood of information and visuals and audio and verbal information in comparison to getting information in the past, which was through just pure reading. I know I have these conversations with my colleagues all the time of how, back in our day, they just gave us textbooks. Back in our day, we just took statewide exams and we were fine. We talk about the struggles of working with our kids, and I feel like we keep the common thread that comes up in our conversation is that, it's not working. The way we learned was the way we learned at the time. We are the ones that should be changing. We are the ones that need to shift our thinking. We are the ones that need to learn. We need to figure out new ways for the students to engage with the information and not just engage. The article also talks about thriving and to offer moments of success. If we're really trying to shape future learners, if we're really trying to shape these future members of society, to be a part of this media culture, to be a part of this of these different industries where it's about makers and creators and visuals, right, and digital connections and disconnects, then we as educators, we have to shift our thinking. Like, I just think back to how when I was starting out my first year of teaching here in the Bronx, I came in with a fine arts degree in art education. My studio practice was all, traditional printmaking. I loved it. Never did I even approach technology. I feared it. I would only use, social media. That was as much technology as I integrated into my life. And so I think now this is the end of, I'm ending my 5th year of teaching here, and literally all it took was to learn how to remix some YouTube videos to change a message with a social justice spin for me to feel like, okay, I really feel confident enough to teach iMovie. And we're making flip books, and now I'm having the kids, take their flip books and record it on photo booth, and then we're using that to learn how to use iMovie and all the tricks that it can do. Figuring out how to get in touch with these new learners, we need to understand what their characteristics are. The characteristics are listed as the iKIDs being 1, technologically driven, alternatively literate and increasingly multimodal, media creators as well as participants, synectic multitaskers, connected yet disconnected global citizens, in need of alternatives to traditional classroom instruction from a high-stakes testing environment. I can really connect with the last one because testing only evaluates so much. It's very limited. I always think of the quote, "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." I firmly believe in this. I live it. I see it every day. offering different modes of engagement and different opportunities for success and for thriving is what the arts is all about.